And we are live. Welcome back to the Shankly Sessions, folks, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week out there on the upper tier on YouTube. Joining me tonight for a special show, I've got a couple of guests on. First of all, Craig makes his return, a Shankly Sessions OG. Welcome back, Craig.
How you doing, Niall? It's good to be back. Good to keep up with the shows and all the latest. And nice to meet a fellow Liverpool fan with us today as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Stephen, welcome to the show.
thanks for having me on, mate. Looking forward to this one. Obviously, good to catch up with yourself and obviously Craig as well. So, no, looking forward to it. And yeah, always love coming on, fellow Liverpool YouTubers. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And after the show, folks, when you get a chance, head over to YouTube. Stephen's channel is down in the description there, so make sure you drop a subscription on his channel after the show and stuff like that. He's knocking it out of the park with some great content, including some excellent quizzes, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun on them as well. But let's get into the show. As always, if you want to contact the show, we're out there on Twitter at Session Shankly, but we're also across the board. We're on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Audio,
Everywhere.
we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. We put it out there absolutely everywhere. You cannot use the excuse that you cannot find us, because no matter where you go on social media, we are there. So let's get into this first of all. God, where do I begin? I suppose I want to begin with one. I have some positive stuff to talk about, and obviously there's some negative stuff we need to talk about as well. So we'll start with the positive stuff.
Okay.
If you can call it positive stuff, but I suppose
Oh
it's
God.
not overly positive. But Divock completes his move to AC Milan.
Yeah.
The reason I call this positive is I'm delighted that he got the move, and I'm delighted for him, and I think he'll do brilliant in the Italian league. What was your thoughts on the move, Craig?
Unfortunately, it's a bit worse than others probably know because I'm an Inter Milan kind of likable kind of team in Serie A. But now I kind of echo what you said there. If there was ever a player who deserved the move and who I believe can be the main man actually in Milan, Zlatan has obviously got a very, very, very bad injury. Doesn't go well with his age. Giroud is kind of a bit more of a kind of bit part player. So they are in need of a centre forward, and what better man to get? If there's ever a man deserving of a starting place, I think he'll take to the league like a fish in water. I really do. They have a great supply up there with Rafael Leao and Salamakers, so they've a good young kind of up and coming team. Probably missing the front piece as in a regular starter. He's still only 27. Why not, make contention for the Belgian team for the World Cup squad? As part of, has there ever been a player who was only like, you could say a bit par player in our team, but had made such an impact on us, off the pitch, on the pitch? Moments we'll cherish forever down to this man. It's kind of a strange one because I'm happy that he's leaving, but not on the reason that, like, you kind of echoed. Not happy that he's leaving the club. I'm happy for his progression as a footballer and happy that he's getting a move that I hope will be a really good one for him. I think they'll take to him very well in Milan as well. Very passionate fans, and I really do think he has a very good career, a starting career ahead of him now more than a bit part player.
Yeah. What was your thinking on it, Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, just echo what Craig's just said there. I think it's a good career move from him. I am gutted to see him go. I mean, cometh the hour, cometh the man, and he's certainly done that. Look at some of the big games. Obviously, the 2 goals against Barcelona and Anfield. Obviously, the Champions League final second goal against Spurs. The goals against Everton. He absolutely loved playing for them. But I mean, he's still relatively young. He's 27 years of age. And let's face it, if a guy who's just moved to Inter Milan, sorry, Craig, Lukaku, I call him Lukaku because he is absolutely cacked.
I can't hold that against you, Steve.
Yeah, he is absolutely cacked. So if he can do it in the Italian league, then Divock, in all fairness, is a better player in my opinion than Lukaku. So I think he'll do well in this AC Milan side. I actually forgot about Giroud as well. So you reminded me there, Craig. Yeah, forgot about Giroud, but. No, I mean, obviously it makes sense for his progression. Obviously, it's a World Cup year as well, isn't it? So I can see, obviously, it all makes sense. And like I said earlier on other people's streams and my own as well, just wish him all the best. He's done when he's needed, he's obviously been a big part player, and he's scored some very important goals. So yeah, massive respect to him.
You can sort of feel that somewhere along the line in this Champions League campaign coming up, we're going to meet AC Milan, aren't we? And they'll be just we'll be saying prayers that he doesn't create another moment now that he's on the opposition. I suppose following on from that, we have to talk about this. Liverpool, 130 goals they went through, and the final goal they came to, the most epic goal, the corner taken quickly, Origi, was voted the number one goal. Stephen, I was talking to you earlier on your own show. We brought up this. We were talking about it this morning, and I was saying there's been so many fabulous Liverpool goals over the year. We spoke about the Gerrard ones, and Istanbul and everything else, and everything that went with it. But I don't think in terms of this goal, I'll get both your thoughts on it. But this is one where the setting, what was on the line, the commentary, if you remember. The goal, the whole setup, the ball boy giving Trent the wink to do what he needed to do and all that kind of stuff. It is fitting that this goal is the one that's chosen, isn't it? It does feel right, does it?
Yeah, it certainly does. And I mean, I remember watching this back, and at the time there was a power cut in our area, so I actually missed the goal. I've obviously seen it back of many a times now, but when I turned the TV back on, it was 4-0. But I cast my mind back to that night. I think even if Barcelona scored 2, we were just on form so much on that night. I think we could have scored 5 or 6 anyway if we had to. We were just absolutely amazing. But it's like you said on the channel, my channel this morning, there's been that many different Liverpool goals, but this one is definitely up there, and it's one of the most memorable, obviously, other than sort of the Olympiacos Gerrard goal, obviously the Gerrard second goal against West Ham in the cup final in 2006. So it's quite fitting that it's up there with the one of the best Liverpool goals ever. And I'm just amazed that was a semi-final, and some of these world-class players defending like Sunday League team players. It's just, you don't even see that in Sunday League nowadays. So yeah, it was quite amazed that was a semi-final of a European Cup, and defending like that, it was just atrocious defending. But what a finish to get it in that top bins, as they say. I don't think he could have put it any sweeter, to be honest. So no, a fantastic goal. And yeah, we've definitely had our moments over the years, but that one definitely does stand out for me.
Yeah. Craig, good choice.
It has to be up there, regardless of Liverpool fan or not. Like, you have to be, I just remember, I think what echoes what you just said there as well. The commentary, you could hear the volume of the level of the commentary going up as the corner came in. And, even as he said, Origi, it was kind of always rising. And it nearly, brought life into you, that kind of way. Nothing, you're thinking nothing of it. It's going out for a corner. Barcelona are absolutely shell-shocked, as Stephen rightly said. I agree with him. I think they were beaten on the night, regardless of that situation or not. They were steamrolled off the park from minute 1. Remember Fabinho's challenge earlier on in the game on Messi, just to let him know, we are. And that set the tempo. I just remember, you think it's cutting to the corner flag and you're thinking nothing of it, and then the ball just, Origi comes across and didn't know what to do. It's just ecstatic, it's Barcelona players are moving, they're looking around, everyone's looking around. Trent's running off with Divock, and Genie comes over and Henderson. I'm like, my God, as up there with moments and up there with the folklore, it has to be up there. And I fully agree with Stephen. I think on that night, nothing was going to stop us. Very thankful for that moment and situation. But if they had have put anything down towards us on that night, I think we would have just found something even more to fit, to go through. Nothing was going to stop us.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in this house, that's for sure, that night. And there wasn't a dry eye in that stadium either. When they all lined up and they started singing and all, my God, it was unbelievable. It was just written, wasn't it? It was incredible. Let's have a chat about our captain. Little sort of documentary came out there during the week. Jordan Henderson has never done. I thought it was a fantastic documentary. I don't know if you boys have both caught it yet, but the players that were involved in it and the way they spoke about him, the affection that they showed, and some of the fans as well and stuff like that. And I have to say, Stephen, you only know me a short time, but I was not a Jordan Henderson fan at all, and I tell you where he turned me. I was in Carragher's Bar in New York 3 years ago, and we were playing Southampton, and it was a tough one because Southampton were in control of the game,
Mm.
and we were struggling. And I had only met Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia was doing a signing in the bar that day, and he was watching the match with us. You want to see Luis Garcia when he gets a few drinks and he's on the bar. He's some Liverpool fan. I'll tell you that much. But I seen Jordan Henderson coming on as a sub, and I said to myself, "Oh no, I can't believe this. Is this our answer? Is this how we're going to rescue a game?" The boy comes on, and I think he got a goal and an assist in the game. It
Yeah,
was unbelievable, played out of his skin. And I just said from that day on, I think it was 2018, I'm not sure, but I just said from that day on, I said, I'm never questioning him ever again. He is my captain till the day he leaves, and that's it. But he was absolutely fantastic. But the way this guy is developed and the way players talk about him, and I know some people will say, well, look, if you're a teammate of his and you're being interviewed for a documentary, you're not going to come on and say, "Well, actually, he's crap, and I'm not really into him,"
yeah,
But the way Thiago spoke about him, and the affection from Allison and Bobby and all these guys, and Virgil van Dijk, and then to turn around, they said he is the manager on the pitch. I thought was a great way of describing him.
yeah.
Stephen, what's your thoughts on Hendo? Because I know at this stage he is somewhat on the downward side of his career now and stuff like that. Even though he's still fantastic, he is our captain. But what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on him at the moment?
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with the manager on the pitch. I mean, you just have to look at the COVID situation. Obviously, when we're playing away, he's the voice that you can hear it inside the empty stadium. He's cheering everyone on. Any tackle that's made, he's cheering on Robbo, Trent, anyone who's got the ball or making any sort of effort. You can hear him over anyone else as well. So I'd echo that. But obviously, it's no coincidence that he didn't start off very well. I'm so pleased we didn't obviously go, or he didn't go for the swap deal with Clint Dempsey. I'm really pleased about that now.
Yeah,
But obviously, it took him a few years. Obviously, he was one of the first Dalglish signings, I believe, as well.
yeah,
Obviously, along with the likes of Charlie Adam and Stuart Downing as well. But it took him a long time to embed in the team. But I think now, first and foremost, because I think Milner's obviously he's only going to be playing this season. Let's be honest, and I think for me, his legs are going. There's no way he can play 38 games or more in a season now. So I think coming to sort of this season and next season now, I think you'll see both sort of Milner and Henderson playing. Well, Hendo will be playing the Milner sort of role when Milner leaves next season. In all fairness, and that's no disrespect from me. He'll probably take that. He just wants to be in and around the club. He loves the club, and what a player he's become. And Klopp's obviously trusted him. He's the captain. He demands respect, and all the players speak very highly of him. So he's Liverpool captain, and I know he's got a lot of stick, but I think he's come out of it the other end and acted it on the pitch, proven himself, and we're bringing Hendo on now, a bit like what we do with Milner, to close out games and just get that bit of experience that's needed on the pitch when maybe there is a bit of crazy times when you just have to look at the Villarreal game as well, just this season as a highlight as well, when he obviously came on, it was more composed. So yeah, he just brings a lot of experience, and I think if I'm hearing right anyway, I would love us to do similar deal to what we're doing with Naby Keita, where we go for Jude Bellingham now, but obviously for next summer, get that pre-contract agreement in. And I think that will be not the end of Henderson, but like I say, that will be when he will start doing the Milner role and playing bit part in games. And I think he'll be happy with that as long as in and around the club.
yeah. We'll get on to talking about Jude shortly because I think Jude fancies playing with Jordan Henderson. So who knows? It'd be great if we could convince him to come this summer, wouldn't
Oh,
it? Craig, I don't know if you've seen the documentary, but everyone spoke very highly of Jordan, But it was good to see Trent as well. Trent and I think Jota turned around and said, and when you're not doing what you should be doing, he's no problem letting you know.
Mm.
And it was really cool. It was really cool. And the way Jota said it as well, he goes, yeah, he's kind of no problem roasting me and all if I'm not doing what I should be doing. And I thought that was brilliant as well, because it gives you kind of both sides of him, because everyone can come on and do a documentary and say, oh, he's a lovely chap and he's a great man and he's our captain and all this. But Jota's kind of spoke about him like it was nearly in fear of getting roasted by him, that kind of way. So it was pretty cool to see that as well. But Craig, he big boots to fill, didn't he, with Stevie?
I'll be completely honest, like yourself, I wanted him gone. I just have to be honest about the timing, and at that time, nothing against Jordan. I just honestly didn't see it working out at the time. I was very impatient Liverpool fan. I didn't think he, was going to cut it. When Fulham came in with that deal, I was like, I can't really see any future for him here. But if there was ever a person to turn around and make a landmark, like a captain material, it's Jordan, isn't it? I always look back at the time when he goes over to his father, who was very sick. And at the time, he was captain in Liverpool to a Champions League winning final. The mentality and the desire of the man is unquestioned. I'll never question him ever again as long as I live. He wanted to be Liverpool captain, and not just, I'll do it because no one else wants to do it. He wanted it because it meant so much to him, and the club means so much to him. And as I look back on it now, as Stephen touched on as well, you can see games where it's not like we're missing an attacking midfielder or we're missing something. We're missing Jordan. We're missing his pressure. We're missing his leadership. We're missing, he's the first person into a tackle. We're missing that kind of lift on the pitch. As Stephen said, as soon as he comes on, he's dashing over to players. He's straight into them. He's setting the tempo. He's setting the level of what he expects from the club. And I really do, wish him all the best. I think I fully agree with Stephen. Him and Milner will have a bit part role this season, but to have them in and around the club is great for the youngsters, like the likes of Curtis, the likes of Trent. Yeah. It's great for the atmosphere. It's great for Jurgen, being able to rely on these people on the pitch. And all credit to Jordan to turn his career around, complete U-turn, and he's their captain. He's captain does tell like many, many good memories. I always remember the picture when him and Klopp are crying and they're hugging together. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Even the picture of him embracing his dad and stuff like that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Such memories. And even this year in the Champions League final, if you remember, he was the guy furthest forward doing the pressing at one stage against Real Madrid and stuff like that. And he was really saying to the boys, this is what you should be doing. Come on. And he was trying to will them on, but unfortunately it didn't work out for us. It's really been I don't know about you guys, but this week has been a tough week for me, or tough 10 days as a Liverpool fan. For a number of reasons. And I don't know whether the club does it on purpose or not to us, but Mane goes off and those images of him landing in Germany and putting on the Bayern gear and all that kind of stuff, and I was just there going, this is terrible, this shouldn't be happening, you know what I mean? And then of course they release all the footage of, his farewell and what everyone thought about him and all this kind of thing. I'm thinking, why didn't you re-sign him? Why is he gone if all this stuff is coming out? It was breaking my heart to see it. And the picture of him with all the trophies and everything he had done. And I was saying to myself, they should have been able to find a way, one way or another. And then if that's not bad enough, then of course we see Divock in the AC Milan gear and they start releasing his stuff. And of course his goal is voted the best goal ever for Liverpool. And I'm thinking, you are really rubbing it in now, lads. This is getting tough now, And then I'm thinking, this guy who was on the screen, Mo Salah, who we all love and endear without a shadow of a doubt, has had another offer and it doesn't look like he's going to sign it. And then we get the 5 years of Mo Salah. And I'm there going, you have to be doing this on purpose. This is the third time now. And it's just, the timing of this stuff is just crazy. Stephen, what's your thoughts on Mo? I mean, some people are saying that the stance that FSG are taking is basically they're looking at him and they don't believe that he's going to be able to sustain over, say, the next 4 years the level at which he has played at. And for that reason, they're not valuing him at that level. That's the narrative that's out there. Now, obviously, other people are turning around and going, this man is worth his weight in gold, throw the money at him and sign it up. What's your thoughts on this at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing topic, isn't it? I've been saying it on my channel all this time as well. It's a grey area when it comes to Liverpool. As soon as they seem to turn 30, they don't like giving players 4 or 5 year contracts. It could be because maybe they think his legs are going. But for me, I think he's a superior athlete. I think he can do it for another 5 seasons easy. But the only concern I have is that if he doesn't sign a new contract this summer, obviously from January he can start speaking to overseas club, and that means that we can lose him for a free in the summer. It also means if he does go for free in the summer of next season, obviously, then he's going to get a hefty signing on fee as well, which could play into his mind as well. So for me personally, I really do want him to stay. I think maybe that's why Sadio is going, because maybe he wasn't number one at the club when it comes to strikers anyway, and Salah wants to be that. Obviously, Nunez will bring that competition, but I think Salah is obviously Liverpool's number one striker. I want to see him sign a new deal, but if he doesn't sign it before, let's say if we're getting into the sort of first, you don't want it getting into the first couple of weeks of the season saying, oh, well, Salah still hasn't signed. A bit like the Coutinho one, obviously not nowhere near the same, but obviously it was all will he, won't he sign, what's going to happen, etc. Transfer saga. So for me, if he doesn't sign before the start of the season, I would honestly sell him, because although I don't want him to go, I would rather get some sort of money than lose him for free, because I think he was obviously worth well over. I mean, we were caught 150 million only a few years ago for him. So I mean, what I would still think he would command still quite a fee, even up to the 70-80 million pound mark. You'd rather have a little bit of money so you could reinvest in the squad, than let him go on a free. So for me, he has to sign a new deal. If he doesn't by the start of obviously the Premier League season, then if it was me, I'd be looking to cash in. I want him to sign a new deal, but I don't know if it's his agent getting into his head. I think he wants to sign a new deal, but then you get this, well, or hang on a second, if say Virgil van Dijk, who I don't think's money motivated or anything like that, of course he wants money, but it's this sort of grey area where if Salah's offered 400 grand a week plus bonuses, and Van Dijk's only on 200 grand or 220 grand, he's going to say, well, hang on a second, I'm still a world-class player. I want 400 grand. And then Thiago's going to be saying the same. So
it's a ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a knock-on effect. You can't obviously do it for one person. We haven't done it for Mane. We haven't done it for Wijnaldum. We didn't, obviously, I don't know why I even mention him, but Emre Can as well. He wanted more money with a release clause. So we don't break wage structure for anyone, and it's proven that we always say there's no bigger person than the club, and that is correct. The players know it all with regards to the wages. That, let's face it as well, they all get decent bonuses, which are very achievable to hit, like appearances, goals, etc. So I still
we wouldn't set our bonuses like the way Bayern Munich do.
You just have to look at the other side of the East Lancs roads. Look at Manchester United. Jadon Sancho, he was a quality player for Borussia Dortmund, and look what's happened to him at Man United. Offered 300 or 350,000 pound a week. It's just crazy. I mean, if you look at our situation compared to Man United's, it's just completely, we're completely inferior. That I think the players buy into the wages, etc. And like I say, I want Mo Salah to stay, but if he doesn't sign a new contract by the start of the Premier League season, I would be looking to cash in on him.
Yeah, it's really a difficult one, because the difficulty is it's very hard to go into the new season with this hanging over you, and especially in the fan base as well. Like he's beloved within the fan base. There's no doubt about that. And I don't want it. I don't want it to get toxic if he's not going to sign. I prefer it was just leveled out and goes, right, I'm not going to re-sign. I'm going to give you everything I can this season, or we have to move him on. But the real concern at the moment is the club the other day putting a price tag on him means that there's obviously people inquiring or talking to the club about Mo Salah if they've put a price tag on him, because otherwise why would you be putting a price tag on him? I think it was 60 million they put on him the other day or something like that. I'm of the same. I've sort of, as difficult as the last 10 days has been, and we've discussed it, I've resided to the fact that I don't expect to see Mo Salah in that beautiful red jersey come August. I don't. and I'm preparing myself for it as best I can. But who knows? Who knows? FSG, they might be able to pull something out of the bag, and certainly if they were going to, this is the man to do it for. But
Yeah.
it's just the thoughts of losing that front three for the guts of 35 million. When you go back 2 years ago, you could have been looking at 250 million, 270 million for that front three.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, that front three that was worth $250 million is going to leave our club potentially for 35 million. And I'm there going, how did we get that so wrong? Michael Edwards, Julian Ward, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
How did we get that so wrong? It's just unbelievable. And that's the shocking part for it. Craig, I mean, what's your thoughts? Is he signs or he goes? Or is it that clear cut?
Um,
Or
it's been really difficult, Noel, to be honest. You know, when he was in his scintillating form, a lot of us were probably saying, Jesus, give him what he wants. You know, you
Yeah.
couldn't argue at the time. You know, at the time, I had friends text me who were Man United fans saying, Jesus Christ, what more does he have to do? And I kind of got on board with it, to be honest, at the time. It was like, yeah, like, you know, he is playing consistently season in, season out at an extremely high level. And I echo what yourself and Stephen said. Who wouldn't want Mo to resign? But at the same time, I have to look at the club's stance. And the club are doing it for us and for the club's sake. They're not doing it as in to get on our backs or to create divide or to create a problem within the club. They're not doing it like that. If Mo has been offered multiple deals, which he's not happy with, I would sell him because I do not want to see a player of that caliber going to free next season. That
Yeah.
doesn't benefit us in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying he wouldn't give 100% next season. I believe he would. I believe he's that type of player. However, I take my mind back to the second half of the season just gone. He looked very, very, very out of sort. In my opinion, he was on the pitch, but he wasn't necessarily getting involved. Everything was going to the left. When he was on the ball, he looked very sporadic, very uninterested, and I don't know if it was starting to play a part in his head that maybe his agent had said to him, "Stick to your guns. You're a big player. They will give in. You know, you're too valuable." But then we go and we look at Diaz. We got him in. He started off so well. We spent massive money on Nunes. That basically tells us he is the new vocal point of the attack. You don't go and spend 100 million if he's not going to be. You know what I mean? So now I'd say his agent is probably feeling a little like, oh shit, like, you know, we're not in a position of power we thought we were probably in. And I don't have a problem with their club not giving certain players who are going over 30 a massive wage because I echo what Stephen said. I completely agree. If you give it to one person, well, you know, I've been playing centre half. We won the league. I'm pretty consistent. I want so much. It will have a ripple effect. There's no doubt about it. Like, you know, if another player on the pitch is having a certain performance level, they would obviously feel entitled to a certain wage. But I I think we're in good hands. You know, look, Jesus Christ, where we were nearly with Gillette and Hicks. You look at the Aubameyang deal with Arsenal, got a new contract, put the feet up. You look at Alexis Sanchez, Man United, I think he's on 350k, put the feet up. Not saying Mohamed Salah would do it. I'm just saying you have to be so careful, don't you, like these days.
Yeah.
I would rather we invest a certain amount of money in the club and we go again then.
Yeah, I suppose the difficulty is with the way football is evolving and changing at the moment with these contracts and stuff like that. Are we looking at a situation now in terms of loyalty to a club only has so long, and then what happens is it pitters away during the course of your contract because now these players know, well, I can wind down my 5 year contract, I can walk away on a free, I can get a 20 million or a 30 million signing on. That's all my money. I don't have to
Yeah.
accept 10% of a club transferring me or whatever it is. And maybe this is the new way it's evolving. And I'm just wondering, in the way football's evolving now, does it allow for clubs at the top end? And we respect ourselves as a tier one club. We're up there, always challenging on the big stages and stuff like that now. Is it feasible for us to run it that way within a wage structure and try and maintain that? Because it's a difficult one. If you look at, say, someone like you mentioned, Virgil van Dijk, like Virgil van Dijk is going to be looking for huge money or a contract upgrade or something in the next year or two, no doubt. And what do we do? Do we turn around and tell him, no way? And then we risk losing him as well. And I suppose the whole idea of, the argument of this age 30 thing has been around football for years, since the year dot. But I'm not sure whether 30 is that age anymore where people go, oh, you reach your peak and you're on your downward climb, stuff that. This guy is in unbelievable shape, lives an unbelievable lifestyle, doesn't abuse himself. You look at what Cristiano Ronaldo's been able to do at 37, even for United, in a poor United side last season, still banging in the goals and assists and all at that age. So, and he's 37, like he's 7 years older than Mo now or whatever it is. So you'd wonder, is this whole once you reach 30, really it's your last big contract and then you're done and all this, and you're on the downward slide and stuff like that. I wonder if does that not ring true anymore? And is it something that clubs should be looking at? But I think Liverpool Football Club, I mean, if we're going to start bringing in Jude Bellingham and, we've brought in Darwin Núñez and we're going to be bringing in other top class players, no doubt. The fact that we operate within a wage structure, and the fact that we generate so much money, I think it was 600 million this year or something like that. It was massive money between the Nike deals, between obviously the branding, all the other connections that we make, the sponsorships, obviously the money off competing in football, the broadcasting, TV rights and everything. Is it feasible to sit players down and go, play the poor mouth with them over the contract when they're looking for a certain amount? If you think about what brand Mo Salah brings to Liverpool, forget about even his goals and his assists and all that other stuff, but brand Mo Salah within the Muslim world and stuff like that, and in Egypt and all the jerseys, and he's seen as an icon and stuff like that. It's how do you value that for Liverpool, who's such a global club now? It's such a difficult dynamic to kind of balance that out. And the thing about it is, if he was to go, if we, even if he goes on a free or if we sell him prior to the season starting, he still has to be replaced. You're still going to drop huge money. You're still going to bring in someone. If you're trying to bring in someone, and first of all, how do we find someone at that level that's going to give you like a 40 GA every season nearly, you know what I mean? But not only that, but even if you do bring in someone to replace him, they're not going to be coming in on 150 grand. They're not going to be coming in on 180 grand. They know full well, FSG talking about the 150 million that they've got in this bonus money and all that. You're not going to be able to keep on turning around playing the poor mouth and rinsing people on contracts. And I think it's just going to evolve, and we have to figure out what way we're going to go with this, because the thing about this that really scares me is, and especially in a World Cup year as well, the way we keep on talking about pushing players on next summer. What happens if Jude Bellingham goes off and has an unbelievable World Cup? And let's suppose England win the World Cup, and with the squad that they have, that's not a stretch by any means of the imagination.
It's not happening, though. Definitely not.
They might have a manager who, from a tactical point of view, maybe holds them back a little bit. But in terms of, you look at those players and you look at the backup players and the squad that England have at the moment, it's not inconceivable that they could do it. And then Jude Bellingham comes back and goes, well, actually, I want 150 million now, Dortmund say, and I actually want 400,000 a week. And if you don't want to give it to me, that's fine. I love Liverpool Football Club. I'm friends with Jordan Henderson. I want to play with Jordan Henderson, stuff like that. But you know something? Man City up the road are going to pay 150 million for me, and they're going to give me 400 grand a week. And I know we turn around at times and goes, well, such and such player doesn't look like it's all about the money. It's never all about the money until you're sitting at the table talking about the money. Then it's all about the money. Because we've heard with the Mo Salah stuff, he wanted to see what FSG's project was for Liverpool. He wanted to see what the future, the next 4 to 5 years was, and what he was signing up for. And this was the smoke screen we got. When in actual fact, we know that this is simply about money. It's simply about money. And all along for the last 12 months, we've been told, no, it's not money. Mo Salah's not that kind of guy and all this kind of thing. Every player is that kind of guy when you sit across the desk from a club and go, what are you offering me to sign a 5-year deal or a 4-year deal? So, it's a tough one to call. Mark's in the comments here. Let's see what Mark's coming in with. The first 6 months last season, he was unplayable, dropped off a bit the second half, dropped off massively the second half.
I agree.
The question is, do you pay him the large wage and miss out on more signings where you need to strengthen? Great shout, Mark. Great comment.
That's a very good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
suppose. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, what I was going to say to that, I think it's great how times have changed, because if you look at it, before Klopp came in, we were linked with players left, right, and centre, and then as soon as the likes of Chelsea or Manchester United went in, players would go there. So yes, obviously, players have got to be driven by wages. We don't see this now where the likes of Ryan Giggs and Gerrards and Scholes, etc., who stay at the clubs for the full longevity of the career. But I think there has to be some sort of stretch in it, because obviously players want to play for Klopp first and foremost. That's the massive pull these days. Players want to go and play for Klopp. They want to play for Liverpool because Liverpool are winning things as well. But I do think they need to do something with regards to the wage structure, because you don't. It's like you just said, you don't want to be missing out on Bellingham, who I hear as well. His family and himself, well, not himself, but his family are season ticket holders at Liverpool. Yeah, he's a Liverpool fan, and like you say, he's massive. He's friends with Henderson and Trent as well. So we don't want to get to the stage where we're going back in time where we're going to be missing out on players. Look what United are doing at the minute, when Christian Eriksen doesn't even want to sign for them, and he's a free agent. So we don't want to go back to that sort of time Klopp, where we're missing out on players left, right, and centre. So I think there does need to be some sort of stretch, because you can't keep on. I think we've been quite lucky with Nunez as well, because I think he's only on 110.
15k or so, around that. Yeah,
something around that. So I mean, it's not obviously it's massive wages. I mean, if you offered me that amount of money, I'd be saying just give me the shirt now. I'll just sign anything, you know. But I think we do need to, although we've all sort of embedded in this sort of wage structure sort of thing. I think because Trent as well, he's on 180,000. So whenever his contract's up, I don't think he will personally anyway, because he's Liverpool born and bred. But it's like you say with Virgin and players like that, they're going to come in at their last big contract. They are going to want bigger wages, and we're going to have to budge for it. And I think personally, for me, Klopp wouldn't have signed a new deal unless he's got assurances. One, for spending, and I think as well that he probably was assured that he probably knew that Mane was going. So he's probably said, well, if Mane is going, I want Salah to sign a new contract, give him what he wants. And I'd like to see it, but we'll only time will tell if we'll do it or not.
Yeah, I was thinking when news came out that Klopp had extended his contract.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been the trigger for Mo Salah then to row in behind and go, well, listen, now I know the plan is here. It's Jurgen Klopp, blah, 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 blah. Now I feel comfortable signing, and this is what it's going to be. Because it's just, I don't know, the thoughts of losing what we've lost. Like, even like, I was even emotional the other day losing Taki.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, he's done brilliant. If you look at his stats, he's a goal every 93 minutes, albeit it's in the cups and stuff like that. But even when he played against Southampton at the tail end of the season, remember he banged in that goal?
Yeah.
I'm so happy for him and stuff like that. And it's just when you lose those players as well, you're kind of thinking, well, this season again, we're going to be fighting on all four fronts again. So who's going to get us those cup goals when we don't play a Salah, or we don't play a Nunez, or we don't play a Diaz? You know what I mean? And I know Jota's there and Bobby's there and there's other players and stuff like that, but it's just Taki was just so pivotal in that in the winning of those two cups. I think without his goals, I think we would have struggled, especially early days.
Top scorer in both competitions. So without that, we wouldn't have won the League Cup or the FA Cup. So it's thanks to him for that. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so you have to be very, very careful as well if you look in hindsight. We don't know if Darwin Núñez is going to take to the Premier League yet. It's a different style of player than what we have. He's more of a big kind of front man who can drop and receive the ball from the wings and so on and so forth. But he will be looking for supply in the box. A lot of the time when we've been frustrated in games, people have their two banks of four. We're swinging balls into absolutely nobody. Hopefully that will take care of that, as he can knock it down or he can, score from a ball in.
Definitely.
But we're taking as you said earlier, we're taking Salah, just for argument's sake, we're taking Salah and Mane out. Diaz, as good as form he's had, he's going to have to seriously step up fast. We unfortunately don't have the time to give. Same for Núñez. We're going to be relying on him really from the get-go. Jota had a great season in his own right. Very, very, very credible return. So it's nearly like, you're saying to these lads, you kind of are going to have to nearly step up straight into their mark, because we need you to, because Sadio's gone, Divock is gone, Taki's gone, we don't know what's happening with Mo. So we are going to need to kind of need the lads to step up kind of sooner rather than later, and please God they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to bring up this a little graphic just of kind of the squad and stuff like that, and where we're at the moment, and what we see positional wise between backups and stuff like that. Probably go to Bowdies. I mean, what do you think it is at the moment? Do you believe, like, I mean, do we need to bring more in, or do we believe with what's there at the moment we can push into this season and, I won't say be competitive, because we should be targeting the Premier League or the Champions
Yeah.
League, or potentially both. I don't know what way he's going to treat the domestic cups this year. Obviously we got both of them over the line last year, albeit no goals in the finals and penalty shootouts and stuff like that, but you still win them. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I wonder, will the domestic cups this year be that focal point that they were before, like last year? Because I know there was a lot of talk that, like, with Klopp being in there, he's disrespected the romance of the FA Cup and the League Cup and all that, and he didn't care about them. And we always played the kids, we didn't care,
Yeah.
and and this season just gone was slightly different, because we went in the beginning initially with reasonably strong sides, and then we got stronger and stronger as it went along, which is the way most of the top tier clubs play in the domestic cups. But certainly, you know, a league, we need another league, I think, and we need another Champions League. I think if we need to cement the Jurgen Klopp era, I think if he was to finish after X amount of years at the club and it was only one league and one Champions League, I think he might look at it as being a lost opportunity or a slight bit of disappointment. I know for most managers, they would think that is amazing. I have arrived. You know what I mean? Like when Leicester won the league and stuff like that. But I think with the players he's had available, and I think with the opportunities that we've had, and we've only just fallen short on a couple of occasions, I still think he would be disappointed if he finished out that era with that level of players, with one league and one Champions League. That's my feeling on it anyway. So I don't know what your thoughts, first of all, on that, and also what your thoughts on how you see the squad at the moment, and do we really need to bring it in? I mean, there's obviously glaring issues there in the squad in terms of players a little bit injury prone and stuff like that and all. And we've seen that when, you can give me your views, but when Thiago's not in the team, we're a different team.
Yeah.
Creativity is just so much dampened down. Stephen, give us your thoughts on the squad and how confident you'd be going into season, or more business.
I'm obviously confident, because let's not forget it, in hindsight as well, this side with the midfield finished 1 point behind Manchester City, and we would have had at least another 2 Premier League trophies if it wasn't for the great side like Manchester City. We've got to give them credit. I mean, when we're getting 97 points, not winning the league, 92 this season, not winning the league, it's just unheard of, to be honest. It's just, that's what we're up against. It's where when you go away to like a top 6 side and a draw used to be a good result. Well, a draw is classed as a bad result now. So times have changed, but it does worry me a little bit. Looking at that midfield still, I know obviously they've done very well last season, but you just have to look at Naby Keita, Fabinho to an extent. Hendo can't get a run of games in. Thiago obviously got injured before the League Cup final. So even Harvey Elliott to a degree, obviously it was a bad injury, but obviously he's had a massive injury. And even Curtis Jones. So all that midfield have had time out throughout the season. And yes, you can't obviously plan for that. It was just obviously unlucky, but I do think we need some sort of reinforcements in. I would have liked to seen another one in just to strengthen the midfield. So it would be disappointing, but I suppose if you look at it on the other side, like I say, we got to 1 point off Man City in the Premier League, got to a Champions League final, got to the other finals as well. I actually think this season, I think we'll change it up a bit, and I think we'll play the 4-2-3-1 formation a lot more. I think we've got someone who knows where the goal is. Look at some of the goals that he scored against Alisson, the world's best keeper, and he's slotting it in past and making it look so easy when Alisson. We've seen it all day long. I mean, how confident? Well, not just myself. I'm sure you guys would agree. Every time there's a one-on-one, you're expecting Alisson to save it when it should be the way around. You're expecting the striker to score, but no. When someone's through one-on-one with Alisson, I'm expecting Alisson to save it. He's just that good. But I do think we change it up. We'll do the 4-2-3-1. I think Fabinho and Thiago will be the two holding. I think Salah's obviously going to be on the right, Diaz on the left, Nunez obviously is the main number 9, and I think it'll be between sort of Bobby Firmino, who's fantastic in that position as it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Carvalho's in and around that as well. He looks an absolute baller as well from what I've seen of him. Yes, obviously he was playing in the Championship, but he looks some player. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say because you can't really. I wouldn't criticise the midfield, but it definitely could do with a bit more strength and depth, especially when Milner's going to be more than likely going next season. We need some. We could do with some players in now. Look at Real Madrid's example. They've got Camavinga. They've obviously got Tuachemi as well.
So many, yeah.
So obviously they're sort of planning already for sort of next season. So I'd like us to maybe sign at least one more midfielder. But if we don't and we start the season tomorrow, I still wouldn't be disheartened because this team has done so well. I think they're ready to go, and I believe in what you said, Niall, as well with regards to I think Liverpool will focus definitely more this season on the Premier League and Champions League. He definitely wants that, and I think that's what we'll do, and I think we will go with very, very young players in the other two cups. I don't think now that he's won both trophies, which eluded him, obviously they were the only ones other than the Europa League. Now that he's won them, he can concentrate back on the Premier League and Champions League for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a mouth-watering season. I mean, when you see what Man City are doing in the market as well, they're just relentless. I think they're going to bring in the boy Cucurella as well. For me, he was a sensational player at Brighton with Graham Potter. But also, Chelsea is kind of the unknown as well. They're starting to make moves in the market now. And also Spurs under Conte, I think, are going to have a big say in this. And as you said earlier, like, 90 plus points this stage in the league only gets you in the conversation. It doesn't guarantee you anything. So yeah, it's a big dynamic. But I'd love to see them. They did promise us, remember last summer, they promised us on the back of Konate a midfielder this summer. That's what they said they were going to sign. So I'd like to hold FSG to account a little bit. But obviously with Mane moving, they had to go in for Darwin Núñez, and obviously they brought in Luis Diaz as well. And I know some of the fan base out there is a bit divided in this. They're saying, oh yeah, they're including Luis Diaz nearly in the summer situation because we pulled the trigger on him in January. And I'm going, no, we don't let the owners off that easy. They're not getting away with that. He was a January signing. This is the summer. But I think probably if we're going into next season, if we don't sign another midfielder going into next season, I'm thinking we're probably going to need 2, and that's my fair. And I presume, Jude is going to be one of them, in some shape, form, or fashion. But I'd love to see, and talking about Keita and his contract, they're looking at renewing it at the moment and stuff like that. But he's also being linked as part of a deal for Nicolo Barella, who I would love to see come in. And I mean, he's not going to be on the face of it. He's not going to be huge money. You know what I mean? For what he would bring. But can you imagine a midfield in there of Fabinho, Thiago, and Nicolo Barella? It'd be unbelievable. And I just find at times, and I know some of the guys, shout out to some of the channels out there, they kind of talk about it like it's a cake, and every year they just give us one ingredient less, and we can't build the perfect cake. And that's my only concern in the midfield. Shout out to Hussam on This Is Football, excellent channel out there, and he's so passionate about Liverpool and stuff like that, and the way at times they kick the signings down to the next season, next year. And his fear, like a lot of Liverpool fans, is, well, Virgil van Dijk next year will be another year older, Jordan Henderson will be a year older, James Milner at that stage, I presume, would become an ambassador or a coach or whatever. I mean, at that stage, you'd hardly look at another extension. And then we have to figure out, well, what about Naby Keita? Like, this is a huge season for him. It has to happen. And And then, of course, you've other players there. They're moving up another year as well. And I suppose the concern is if we don't push the button this year and give Klopp everything that he needs, are we kind of in a way kind of not writing off the season, but not arming him with everything that he should have, considering he extended his contract as well.
Yeah.
And that would be my fear. That would be my fear in the midfield. That and as you said, okay, you can't legislate for every outcome or every injury and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of youth in there in terms of backup. I mean, Harvey was sensational until he got that injury. He was having a really good start to the season. But if you think about back to last season when Fabinho got the knock, when Thiago, because I believe these guys were playing injured in the Champions League final. I really believe that, because I don't think they were operating at that level that we would expect.
No.
And I think that's where we fall short. And as I said, when Thiago comes out of that midfield, we just look a totally different team. And that would be my concern. As you said, you can't even afford these days to even have draws. And if you go back to last season and you look at where we dropped points, I was at the Brighton game. I seen Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain pull out of tackles, and no one can tell me any different. And I think when you change it up and you look at the Brentford game, you look at the Brighton game, you look at the West Ham game, you look at the Spurs game, you look at the two games against Chelsea, we just didn't have that creativity and guile to go and see that out and get it over the line. On multiple occasions in those matches, we drew from winning positions and stuff like that. And I just think just that one piece in the puzzle there, if that was there, if Luis Diaz had to come in the summer rather than in January or whatever it is, those games could have been the difference between another Premier League title.
Yeah.
And it's just that sometimes it just frustrates me a little bit. And it's just one of those things. But I just get passionate about it. But fires me up at times. Let's talk about one Calvin Harris, who was on the bus spinning the tunes for the parade.
Yeah.
I was over there in Liverpool that weekend. Actually, I went to Aintree. I was at Aintree for the showing of the Champions League final up at Aintree Racecourse. Yeah. And I got interviewed by Sky Sports and by BBC World. I was devastated at the end of it. Really cut up by it. So disappointed for the guys and stuff like that. And how difficult it must have been for those guys to come out the next day and have to do a parade.
Yeah.
No disrespect to two domestic cups, but it must have been. I know they smiled and they partied a little bit and all, and they put on a show, but they must be at times gritting their teeth and stuff like that. But I listened to an interview there. Calvin Harris said it was unbelievable. He described the parade as his biggest gig ever. And he spoke, what did he say? He said, I got chatting to Andy Robinson, and he said, if there's anything that you could do, we're doing this float sort of thing. He called the parade this float sort of thing, as only Andy Robinson could, Absolutely brilliant. And Calvin Harris turned around and said, Robbo said, maybe you could DJ in Anfield. Or maybe you could DJ in the bus. And he turned around and says, mate, get me on that bus. It will probably be my biggest gig ever. And I thought that was really cool. And when you think about the amount of people that lined those streets that day and stuff, you couldn't get in and out of Liverpool. It just goes to show the love and support, even in the face of such disappointment. It was a horrific 10 days between City winning the league the way they did. I think I would have felt better if City had been just 4-0 up at half time. But the way it went and the way they were able to pull around was just heart-wrenching. And then to go against Real Madrid that way. And actually, I was sitting in Anfield when we played them in Kiev. And I was heartbroken that night as well with Mo getting the injury and stuff like that. No, it was just, it was heartbreaking. But what was your thoughts, I suppose, overall thoughts on the parade, I suppose?
To myself?
Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky enough to be there. I stayed over in Liverpool for the weekend. Stayed at fellow YouTuber's house, Jack Mack, so big shout out to him. Quite a few of us YouTuber Liverpool fans came down to his house. His family had us there, so it was absolutely fantastic. And to see the crowd, there was still quite a few in Paris still waiting to get back, but there was still over 500,000 there. It was absolutely crazy. I mean, I think I got there for about 4:30 on the Sunday, just to where the Liver building was. And there was so many people already there that were kicking footballs about, waiting for obviously everyone to come. And you could see the players obviously weren't expecting it because they probably thought they obviously let the fans down. But these fans, this is why we're the best fans in the world. We'll come through it. We'll pick ourselves up, show our appreciation, because at the end of the day, they played all the games possible, which I don't think any other team has done. In certainly in Premier League era, anyway, to play all the games in all competitions as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So you could see at the end towards that final. I agree with like the likes of Fabinho, Thiago, who was pretty much injured, wasn't he? Probably just had a painkiller injection, and that was the thing. We didn't really have many options off the bench for that, so that was probably disappointing. But you could tell a lot of the lads were absolutely shattered, ready for the summer break, and hopefully they come back a lot stronger, which I'm sure they will do. But This is Liverpool Football Club. This is what we do. We're not a Manchester City when you've got more people queuing up at Primark than you have got watching Manchester City's parades. You just don't see it. This is what Liverpool do. This is what it means, and the fan base is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, they thoroughly deserved it. I know we got a lot of stick for doing it because obviously it was just the League Cup and the FA Cup. But at the end of the day, would you rather have 2 trophies or would you rather have none? I'd rather have 2.
We're Liverpool Football Club, so no matter what we do, we're going to get stick over it anyway. It doesn't matter what we do, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Craig, when you see that parade and that sea of people, and the red smoke from the smoke bombs and all that kind of stuff and all, it's just, and then you just see these buses emerging, and I thought it was beautiful as well that they had the women's bus as well. I thought that was really cool and a really nice touch as well, really good. But when you see the buses coming along and the buses just emerge out of that red mist of smoke, it's an incredible scene. There's lads hanging out of lampposts and off buildings, and I think there was even one lad. He was up on top of the cathedral at the Liverpools, setting off smoke bombs and everything. I was going, "Holy God, how did you get up there? What are you doing?" That was crazy. What was your thoughts, Craig, on it?
Isn't it just like the fitting of a city? Like really is, you know, every blade of it. Like, you know, even when we're playing Man City at Anfield, it's like that. You know, before a game, where else would you get it? You know, as a fan base, as a community, as a city, you know, win, lose or draw, we'll be there, and we always have been there. You know, we get a lot of stick, but how long are we waiting for a Premier League title? And we're always there. We've always been there, and we always will be there together. You know, and I'm sure, obviously, the players the next day having to come out and do a parade was the last thing on their mind. But I'm sure the appreciation and heartfelt they must have got from seeing the streets lined with red, it's just absolutely amazing, and they deserve it. Even like Calvin Harris, I think really enjoyed it and really got involved in it. Like he was up on the deck with Virgil. Virgil's having a laugh with him, and you know, I think it kind of maybe gave the players a bit of light and a bit of, you know, relief that, you know, we do care about them, we love them, and we appreciate all their efforts, win, lose or draw. We're all together. We're all in the same boat, and we always will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out Dave's LFC chats. Check out Dave's channel as well. Absolutely awesome. Great guy. Always drops on and stuff like that. I'm looking at that picture as well, and I'm thinking, lads, how big is Calvin Harris?
No, he's huge. He
is a monster of a human being. Because look, Ali is there and he isn't small. Jurgen isn't small by any stretch. Virgil's in the look at how small Robbo is. It's mad, isn't it? I'd say they probably turned around and said to Kanate, "You wait up the front there, will you? We don't want you overshadowing because Kanate is a monster of a man."
He is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was brilliant. Just thought I'd get your thoughts on it and stuff like that.
No, definitely.
What else? What else have we got to cover? Or have we pretty much covered everything at this stage? I think we're pretty much covered on everything. We are going to be doing Thursday Tier Talk tomorrow night. It's a live show where we're going to try and talk about football in general. But we're going to be trying to avoid talking about transfers and talking about all the other news in football. Because I don't know about you guys, but the transfer window is wearing me down something terrible. Yeah. I just wish, I'm even getting to the point where I'm looking at Man United and going, listen, go out and just sign your targets, will you? Because I'm sick hearing about it. Just go sign De Jong and all. I'm done with it, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I'm sure there'll be a little bit of transfer talk tomorrow night, coming at you from 8:30 for about an hour. But yeah, listen, lads, it's been a pleasure having you on. Shout out to Mark in the comments and Dave's LFC chats as well. Stephen, absolute pleasure having you on. Tell everyone where they can find you. It's down in the description, but let them know what you do and the shows that you do and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm very, very busy. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. It's obviously a pleasure to obviously finally meet you, and obviously Craig as well. Lots to come on the channel. I've got my last Q&A session tomorrow morning, 10:30. Premier League debate show on Friday night, 9 p.m. So I'm going to have a Manchester City fan who have had a few Twitter spats in the past, so it's going to be quite fun. Yeah, a Newcastle fan, an Arsenal fan. So I've got a bit of a mixture. Premier League quiz, 9 o'clock on Tuesday. Transfer news on the Wednesday, and LFC in pre-season next Thursday, and then a Premier League debate show. So I'm very, very, very busy. But yeah, Statman Stubbs football channel on YouTube. You can get me there nearly at 300 subs. So fingers crossed I can get there before the start of the season. That would be fantastic, guys.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. Get in there and subscribe, and obviously share and like everything that's going on there. Also, drop a sub here tonight before you head off if you've enjoyed it, and also like and share as well if you can. We're trying to grow the channel as much as we can. We do cover most of football as well, but within that we have the Liverpool one as well, the Shankly sessions that we focus purely on Liverpool, being Liverpool fans. Craig, an absolute pleasure having you back on again. No
Yeah, it's
doubt
great
this
to be
is
back on. Thanks
this
for having us back on.
yeah, absolutely. Not a pleasure at all, mate. If you want to contact us, it's the upper tier podcast at gmail.com. I told you on Twitter at Session Shankly. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is the upper tier. And on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music for audio versions of the show. You have no excuse for not finding us. We will not tolerate any excuse unless you have no access to internet or you don't own a mobile phone. We will be found. Big shout out to you guys, and a pleasure having you on, and we'll have you on again. Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Cheers.